worked. It's amazing. If you're quiet, people get quiet. It worked. Awesome. Thank you all for coming. You know, it seems just like yesterday we were all together. And thank you. You got it. Public service announcement. First of all, the lake is that way and the bathrooms are that way. So if you get a little turned around, I think you'll be disappointed in both aspects. Do you know that there is a Father of the Bride website? Not one, but three. And I looked them up and I discovered that you can pay money to have somebody write your speech. And I'm guessing pretty quickly you can tell what I decided. Being retired, you know, every penny counts. Is that me?
You can just a little bit closer.
Closer?
Yeah.
Okay, you broke my rhythm, but I'm going to stay with it. And then on the website, they said you could talk for 6 to 8 minutes, and I told Maggie, and she said, "What? That long?" So I'm going to be briefer, and I kind of changed things as I was thinking about it this morning. The number 10 comes up when I think about it, and Mary and I met each other and got married 10 months later, and Dan and Maggie met each other and got married 10 years later. Well, there's more, Dan. You're not done yet. And when Mary and I met in beautiful Clyde, Ohio in 1978, I knew it didn't get much better than that. And she was in St. Joe, Michigan, and Betty and Noel were in Detroit and really didn't get to know me. We were dating, things heated up. 6 months later, 6 months later, I proposed to her. And we decided to go to Detroit and tell Noel and Betty. And we went to Detroit and told them we want to get married. And Betty's famous lines was, "You're what?" And here we are 37 years later, and things are still going pretty good, I think. It's all one day at a time. About 4 or 5 years ago, I forget the time, Maggie called me and said that, called Mary and said, "Would you tell Dad that Dan and I are going to get an apartment together? And would you tell Dad?" And then Mary told Dad, and Maggie called back the next day and said, "What did Dad say?" Well, Dad said, "Why don't they just get married?" And it's nice to know she finally listened to me. Here they are 4 years later. So that's great. So one thing I wanted to talk about, I'm supposed to give some advice here. And I'm quoting one of my favorite poet laureates. And I think Maggie and Dan have our love of music. And it's called Big Old Goofy World. And it's from one of our favorites, John Prine. And I won't sing it, although I could probably sing better than he does. "Up in the morning, work like a dog. It's better than sitting like a bump on a log. Mind all your manners, be quiet as a mouse. Someday you'll own a home that's as big as a house. Kiss a little baby, give the world a smile. If you take an inch, give 'em back a mile. Because if you lie like a rug and you don't give a damn, you're never going to be as happy as a clam." So, good words from John Prine. I think I have one more minute. The thing about Dan, who's a golfer, you knew I'd get to you. And those of you that play golf, it was about 5 years ago, somebody said to me, "Well, you had a son-in-law." And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, you know, it'll work, but not quite what you expected." Well, with Dan, I hit a long one right down the middle. So it worked out pretty darn well. even though he's an Ohio State fan. There are some things we will forgive. When we first met Dan, like any father-in-law, I was kind of looking for how's he treat Maggie. Well, he passed the test. He opened doors. He waited until she was seated and laughed at her sort of jokes. So that was really good. So we feel very fortunate. And Maggie, I won't go through her whole life, but she's self-reliant, confident, probably the easiest kid anybody could have. Chris and Kate, nothing against the two of you, but probably the easiest, confident, results-oriented, and I've discovered in the last week one hell of a project plan. Spreadsheets and to-do lists every day. And finally, Mary, to you, thank you for everything. She's over there. She's got a lot to give her a hand. And I think it's a lot because of her that you turned out as great as you are. So thank you, appreciate it. Thanks all for coming. It was like to tell you last night about the parking. I was supposed to tell you last night about the parking, and I forgot that too. I'd like to have a toast to the two of you, and I'd like to do it a little bit differently, because I looked up at thefatherofthebride.com and everybody, and I just wanted everybody to just be quiet for a minute and send them your best wishes quietly. Man, crowds get quiet. To Maggie and Dan, a wonderful couple. We wish you all the best.
How is it, Ellen?
Exhausted.
Now it's incredible.
I forgot.
Okay. Leave it to the girls. In honor of my dad, I'm going to keep it short and sweet with the poem. I wrote it, so if you don't like it, just pretend. All right. To be honest, I've been nervous about giving this speech until Maggie said, chill, just say something nice about each. Maggie, you're the smartest, most beautiful person I know, and Dan, I'm honored to have you as my bro. Their romance started in Greece on an ocean so blue. Their relationship is natural, fun, loving, and true. Congratulations, Dan. You have an amazing wife. No wishes needed. You will have a wonderful life. So y'all raise your glass to Skip and her first mate. Get ready to eat, drink, dance, and celebrate.
Thank the McKissons, the Jacksons, everybody here, everybody who came out and made the trip out here. Thank you guys so much. I wanted to make this speech super natural, and so I practiced kind of like walking back and forth like this in my apartment, and it just doesn't feel right. It really doesn't. And so I had Bobby Hogan, a good friend of mine. Bobby, why don't you give us a wave? Bobby's over there. Bring a stool from his house so that I can sit down and talk to you guys face to face. So, thank you. Nailed the first joke. Thank you. But no, the gushy reason why I want to be natural here is because the two of you have been so natural since the day you guys met each other. The truth is, I feel very nervous up here, and I've never been a very good public speaker. So, Miami had a class, Com 135. I got a D, I think, on the first persuasive speech, and it was about how J.J. Redick was the best three-point shooter in college basketball. And so I promptly withdrew from the class. Please don't tell my mother. But I'll keep this short in the same vein. I thought I would have a little bit more time, Kate, but thank you for breezing through that. But the fact of the matter is, and I'm glad you brought up that they met each other in Greece. I have known Maggie actually kind of before I knew Dan. Dan and I were in the same fraternity, but we didn't really know each other. We don't even really talk about that fraternity. It wasn't really a good one. When people ask, I say I just wasn't in a fraternity. But nonetheless, thank you guys for laughing. This is incredible. Nonetheless, I'm glad that you brought up that they met in Greece, because that's sort of the story that I want to tell here, and I'll keep it as brief as I possibly can. I've got somebody over there giving me timing. But so essentially, we did this trip to Luxembourg. A lot of our peers in here joined us on this trip to Luxembourg. Everybody, here. It's a great town. And so Miami has a campus there. Miami has a campus there, and we all decided to study abroad there for the fall semester. Is that what they call it? Yeah, fall semester. Fall semester in 2006. And so before that, we went on a 10-day sailing trip to Greece. And I kind of knew Dan, but not that well. I didn't know Maggie at all. But my last name being Meyer, her last name being McKisson, we got paired up next to each other on the plane. And if there's one thing you should know about me, it's that I'm not the best flyer in the world. I have these long limbs. It's tight, and I don't like window seats. I was in a window seat. This is a 9-hour flight, by the way. Like, we're going to France. Like, I'm not looking forward to this at all. And so I take 1, possibly 2 Xanax before we get on the flight. And then this girl walks up and sits down right next to me, and I'm like, oh crap. It's like a gorgeous girl. She seems super cool, and I'm like trying to zonk out here. I'm a horrible flyer. I'm sweating bullets like I am probably right now. But she sits down, and if you guys know Maggie, which I think some of you might, she's chatty. And if you know Maggie even closer, when she's a little bit nervous or feels like she needs to be very welcoming, which is one of the best traits you've got, Maggie, by the way. She chats even more. So we're sitting there, and again, bad flyer. I'm kind of giving subtle hints about how I would just love to put my headphones in and just kind of zonk out, because we got 9 hours of this whole thing, and Maggie's just not allowing for that. She wants to get to know me, which was a flattering thing. Any other guy, I'll bet it would have been a fantastic conversation, but I kept just being like, yeah, doing the pleasantries. And then we even played like a trivia game in front of us. I let her, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? You're right. I let her guess the answer every time. We got like 6 out of 10, I think. We didn't do great, but we didn't do horrible. And so Maggie was just super chatty, right? And it's an awesome trait, but not when you're deuce Xanaxed up and you just want to fall asleep. Now, we get to Greece. We finally get to Greece. This is a long day, longest travel day of my life. We finally get to Greece, but there's so much adrenaline pumping through all of us. We had never drank beers before, and now that we're in international water, we can actually drink beers. And so we could finally enjoy our first beers, because, we weren't 21 at the time. And Danny, the groom, myself, Carl, and Josh. Why don't you guys give us a wave real quick if you can? We're all kind of sitting out there at the pool at our resort in Greece, and up walks these three gals, and they're gorgeous girls. They're Maggie, Heidi, Katie Fielden. I think she's over there. Why don't you give us a wave? Thanks, Katie. And they walk up to us, and I'm just like, oh, crap. Like, I just had to spend like 12 hours with this girl, and she's super nice, but like, I don't know, maybe a break. And so she walks up, everyone walks up, and we started, doing the same sort of thing that we had been doing on the plane the whole time, which was the small talk and getting to know each other. And somehow we split ways. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you cry. Somehow we split ways, and we have our second beer of our lives, and it's just me, Danny, and Josh and Carl sitting on our balcony. And Danny says, "What do you guys think of that Maggie girl?" And I have to rack my brain again. This is our second beer, so like I'm pretty obvious. And I'm like, Maggie. Oh, Maggie. Yeah, no, that was the girl I sat next to on the plane. She's super great, but like, I don't know, man. She's really chatty. She wouldn't really let me go to sleep. And I might as well have said that in Greek because Danny was not listening. The next night, they were talking up a storm. The next night, I think they slow danced once. The following night, they smooched on the cheeks. And then by the following night, they were boyfriend and girlfriend. So to sum it all up, Danny learned a very, very, very valuable lesson that night, the first night in Greece, and that is that, and it's sort of carried on in our 10 years of friendship, and that is to never, ever take advice from me, especially when it comes to women. And to you, Maggie, this has been an incredible day. I'm so glad how far we've come since that initial hangout session. But you're just as much of my best friend as Dan is, and I'm so proud, and I cannot wait to enjoy more dinners, more sleepovers in your guest bedroom. Wherever you move, I'm going there. So I just, congratulations, and I love you guys so much.